Where do we go from here? We've seen like 10, 14 years of growth at all costs. Then in 2022, somebody pulled the handbrake and it's like, hey, let's slow down profitable growth. Where are we now? What happens next?
Sure. With respect to consolidation, I think there's some very good reasons for it. And traditionally, I was always a point solutions guy because all-in-one solutions historically didn't used to be that awesome, like tend to be good on one category and kind of like a B or a C and the rest. That being said, there's some incredible platforms out there now. Like I'm blown away by Apollo IO and Outreach. I mean, those are comprehensive and truly high quality platforms end to end. So you can get away with, just focusing on, a platform like that. But I'd caution against consolidating your data stack. That's usually a bad idea. One data provider very rarely will give you total TAM coverage. And I think we'll get into the weeds a little bit more later on this conversation, but definitely don't consolidate your data stack for reasons of cold calling and things like that. And then if you're looking to create an efficient team, you need to figure out how to safely max activities per SDR. How do you do that? Well, you can focus on email deliverability and improve sending capacity, but really there's a limit on how much you can safely max out emails. So long story long, we like power dialing. I think we both are huge fans of Orem and
Massive.
And Orem turns every SDR into 1.52 SDRs from an activities perspective. And to fuel that, you really need to invest in data and in calling at scale. So if you're leveraging an Apollo or an Outreach, don't stop there. Buy 2 or 3 data tools, teach your sales operations or RevOps team how to mash up data, engineer the flow of data to really feed your team well. And
I want to go ahead. When you finish that, I want to add a point.
I was just saying, just strongly consider adding a power dialer into the equation. And if you do that, you can have like a leaner stack, but just invest in data and invest in tooling, and that's how folks actually do more, and that's how teams can do more with a leaner team.
100%. Proof in the pudding. I invited Orem onto the podcast. I think their episode launches mid-October. I just had Drew on. He was awesome. It was probably the best 45 minutes of talking about cold calling I've had on this podcast ever. I'm not sure what the order of operations, if this one's coming out first or that one's coming out first, but yeah, go look in your podcast. If it's out, go check that one out if you're interested in cold calling or if you want to learn a little bit more about Orem. The thing I will add is our team uses Orem, and I won't go too much into the details, but we ran an experiment side by side, Apollo data only, and then Apollo plus Clay. And Clay gives us access to, I think we use like 5 or 6 different sources on top of Apollo for mobile numbers. My connects on one client went from an average of 4 a day connects on 100 dials to 9 with when I added in Clay. And I saw a couple that were 13, 14. And so I think the trend was picking up. It would probably go even higher than 9, but it at least doubled the number of connects. And when you think about, the cost of that body and the effectiveness of that individual over the phone, I'm basically paying, I don't know, their chunk of the data for Clay, rounding up and being very conservative, was maximum $100. And so I spent $100 per SDR to double the effectiveness of the phone, of themselves on the phone. And 70% of our meetings come from the phone. So that's the best $100 I've ever spent. You don't have to use Clay. It just gives you access to a whole bunch. I just want to double down on Lou's point that one data provider to rule them all is not a great strategy anymore. You need to have multiple.